Hello guys, welcome back to our Rich Artist Friday classes. Rich as in abundant and artist as in creative, because I want you guys to be able to have both abundance in opportunities, abundance in confidence, abundance in structure and knowledge in how to run a business, abundance in resources in order to create more of your art, abundance in, my God, I could just keep going, abundance in mental clarity and mental relaxation in order to foster more creative time for you guys. So that is what the Rich Artist program is about. And Fridays, we do free classes. We do 30-minute quickies on all sorts of topics that I am picking up from you guys that you are interested in me talking on. And today we are talking about how to stand out on a client call. Now, there's a lot of things that can be said about client calls, a lot of the stuff that you will go through on client calls. We do not have time to cover everything today, but for today, I wanted to lay the foundation in how to show up energetically first and foremost, how to really mentally prepare yourself to get on that call, as well as a couple of the questions that I recommend asking. We will not be able to cover all of it today, but this is a really good starting point if you are already doing client calls. Maybe you have never really done a client call before, or it's not been one of those like official ones where you like sit down, you have certain team members from a brand maybe on a call. But even if you're taking private client calls, some of these things will apply to that as well. Specifically today, I'm going to focus a little bit more on the first option here, which is maybe you are talking to a brand, even if this is a private client. I am specifically talking about that first maybe Zoom meeting or even phone call that is getting set up when maybe you're not even confirmed for the job yet. Maybe you've been approached about a project and this is your first touching point with said potential client. Because these calls specifically, I know for a lot of us, are very high pressure situations. I know it's quite the mental game sometimes, especially if it's a kind of job or the kind of client that really fits within your vision of what you want. I know for a lot of us, I've been there personally as well. It can be that kind of call where you're like, oh, this job feels like it's a make it or break it kind of opportunity for me. Maybe the pay is looking very tantalizing, or the option of what you might get paid for this kind of job. So there's a lot of factors that can come into it that can cause sort of emotional stress going into it as well. I know that a lot of us, or a lot of artists in general, are apprehensive about getting bombarded about questions about rates right away. And I want us to set ourselves up to show up really confidently and take a little bit of the pressure out of it, because I know I used to be so nervous about these client calls. I used to feel like I would get on this call and my sole task there was to get hired, to be the chosen one, to convince them, because if I showed up the wrong way, then I would ruin my chances, down to the thing of like, does this shirt make me look like somebody they might want to work with, or I don't know, is my tone of voice the right voice that they're looking for? Like silly things like that, right? And over the last couple of years of getting more practice in it, obviously, but also setting myself up mentally in the correct way, I've actually started really loving first client calls. I actually really look forward to them now. I get excited about the idea of them, and I want to tell you guys how I did that. So the number one thing I want you guys to do before you get on a client call is pretend like you already have the job. It doesn't matter if that they're talking to other photographers. It doesn't matter if you've maybe convinced yourself that, oh God, but once they hear my prices, they'll go running for the winds. No. all options are open here, and the first call with a client really is not about selling yourself. It shouldn't be about selling yourself. Excuse me. I want you guys to go into this first call with the sole purpose of making your client feel absolutely incredible. That is your sole task for this first call, is to make it about the client. This isn't about you. This isn't about you having to prove your worth or anything. This is just a meeting point, and the smartest thing that you can do on a client call is to show up in a way that the client can tell that you are so interested in understanding their needs so that you can perfectly cater to them, because that is the most professional way that you can go into this. And it sort of takes this question of like, will I get hired? Am I worthy? Am I good enough out of it? Because if that's what's on your mind, it's going to be really hard for you to show up really authentically and excited, but also professionally in a sense that you know what kind of questions you need to ask in order to be able to make sure that you understand exactly what it is the client needs. And that is really easy to do if you have a list of questions that you can, have on the side. Make sure that you cover all your bases, and then you don't really need to feel like you're showing up anymore to like prove yourself to these people. And the number one thing that people remember about meeting somebody for the first time is how they felt around that person. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but this is, for meetings in general, if you can allow people to speak on what they're passionate about or what they care about, that gives, put yourself in their position, like, how do you feel when you get to talk about the number one thing that you care about or that is important to you or that you're passionate about? Doesn't that feel great if somebody's like asking you about those kind of things? So if somebody's showing interest in that, like you're meeting somebody new, you remember that feeling. And that's what I want you guys to do with any potential client, is I want you to like zero in on these people and try to dig deep with them about what it is that they need and what they want. So show up as if you've already got the job, because in the end, whether you get picked or not, it's not because you're not good enough, and it doesn't really have anything to do with like those silly little details we focus on the way that we show up on a call. In the end, oftentimes it's a numbers game, or like we'll never know why the other person got chosen over us, and it really doesn't matter, because oftentimes it has nothing to do with us. And if we start looking for the flaws within ourselves, that can cause a lot of insecurity. So once you get on this call, I can't walk you guys through all of the questions I want you guys to ask, but I want to give you guys some of the key points to focus on. So to sort of give you a rough idea of how to navigate through a conversation, you can apply this to a private client as well as a brand. Oh, and before I get into that, actually, one really helpful thing that just popped into my head is do a little bit of research about who you're going to be speaking to. A really clever tip that I do when I start emailing with people, oftentimes there will be some email exchanges before you get to do that face-to-face, is Google these people's names and try to find a LinkedIn photo of them or something. Because you know how they say, like, am I talking to a stranger? Like, ask yourself, am I talking to a stranger? Like, as you're writing these emails, are you talking to a stranger, or do you have a face in mind already? Because it makes it so much easier to feel like you're talking to an actual person, and it makes you a lot more personable. So that's what I like to do. I like to do a little bit of online stalking to sort of figure out, okay, who's going to be there, what kind of role do they have in the company, how old are they, just so I kind of know the vibe of, like, am I speaking to the CEO that's going to be very, like, to the point, or am I speaking to this young creative that's is very much like on my wavelength, whatever it is. Like, it can help with the nerves a little bit as well. So sort of be prepared about who it is that you're going to be speaking to, and especially with brands, be informed. So make sure that you know, okay, Crystal is the one that's doing the marketing and Tom is the art director for this project or something, just so that you don't get confused on the call and so that you know a little bit who to direct your questions to. That can be really helpful, and it makes you look like you're not just, blindly walking into a room scared or intimidated or something. And the fundamental things that are always really important for you to understand about a client is they have a vision, right? They've already invested time into creating a vision for this project that they are looking to hire a photographer to. And the first call is the perfect opportunity for you to use your time to get on the same page with their vision as you possibly can. So questions I like to ask clients is, how do you want this? I mean, you can start general and like ask them about their brand. If you're talking to a brand, like, what do you want your customer base to associate with your brand? What does your brand stand for? Or like in general, if it's a brand, that kind of question wouldn't be like a no-brainer. Ask things like, tell me about your brand's vision for this project. Oftentimes you'll get on these calls and that's kind of the direction that the client might take you in automatically anyways. A question that's really helpful is, what has worked for you in the past? What have you done in the past that was really successful in your opinion? And what are some things and some key elements of this production that you are looking to improve upon? Or if it's sort of like their first photo shoot, if you're talking to a client, it's like, how would you like to walk away with this after this? If you could wave your magic wand and have this be exactly what you needed to do for you, describe what that would look like for you. But if you're talking to a brand and you know that they've done a lot of photo shoots prior, or even with a private client, inquiring a little bit about what it is that they loved about previous productions is really good. And then ask them, how would you love to feel during it? How would you like to feel, looking back on, if we pretend like we've already done this project and it was everything that you dreamed of? What does that look like for you? Maybe what has changed for you? Like, what is this doing for you? If I basically hand you this perfect project, this perfect production, these perfect pictures, what does that look like for you, and what does it do for you? What are the results that you are looking to get out of this project? That is super important, especially if you're talking to a brand. Obviously there's more tactical things here too, or like, I don't know if tactical is the right word here, but just like factual things, like, what is this campaign going to be used for? What product is it promoting? What is the effect that this product is having on your customer base? What is the customer's biggest takeaway from the use of the product, but also from seeing this campaign? What is the initial reaction that you want your customers to have when they see this imagery? And if you're going in that direction, another really great thing to inquire about a brand is, how are you engaging customer loyalty with your brand, or how are you building lasting customer brand relationships? What previous campaigns have you shot that you thought did that really successful, and what elements stood out to you about those campaigns that really emphasize that goal of yours? Or, are you looking to shift directions a little bit from what you have done previously, and what would that end result look like to you if we pretended like it already happened? Like, paint a picture for me here. So I hope that helps you guys a little bit with that. Like, idea of like, oh, now I need to sit here and I need to tell them, oh, I've done this campaign and I've done this and everything that you're looking for, I'm perfect for, and I've already done it and I can do it, right? That's not what you're there to do. Like, they already, I guess, have an idea that you might be able to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be scheduling this call with you. It's much more about if you can make them feel seen in what their needs are. That gives any client a sense of security and assurance that they are in good hands with you, because a client is not you. A client doesn't do what you do. And we all know that what we do is much more than just show up with a camera and press a button. We run a business here. We are business people. This is what I'm here to teach you how to do, is to show up and know exactly how to take a client by the hand and walk them through this process. And I don't care if it's a private client or $1 billion brand. We know our stuff. We know how to do this stuff, and we know what's important for us to have clarity on in order to execute perfectly. So that is what that call should be for, is for you to lay the groundwork here and to make your client feel like they're in good hands with you and you are taking genuine time and interest to dig deep and understand their needs. That will make you stand out so much amongst a crowd of other photographers, especially if you're talking to a brand. You're probably not the only photographer that you're talking to. And while we're on that topic, the kind of estimate that you will be writing for a brand, I would sort of put that out of my mind if that is something that you're worried about right off the bat. Is what if I'm too expensive? What if I'm too cheap, with this like hitting the right number so that you end up getting the job over somebody else. That is a fear-based mentality, and if that's what you're operating out of, it's never going to help you to your advantage. And numbers come a little bit later within this process. I think showing up in a way that makes you look like you have created structure around this process within your business is the most professional thing you can do, because clients won't think about, everything that goes into being a business owner of a photography business. We are artists, and they are talking to probably other artists as well, but not every artist is going to understand that this is what is key in order to show up in a way that makes a client feel like they can trust you, And remember, the way that you make them feel is what they'll remember about you. So the more interest that you can show in them, and genuine interest in understanding what their dream vision for this is, the better. And that's probably something that's easy for them to talk about, because they've done a lot of mental work around trying to figure out, what it is that they want. And now they're starting to shop around for the perfect person that they feel like can help them execute it. And you are that perfect person. So you need to come into this conversation with that knowledge. And if that's something that you're struggling with, or you deal with a lot of nerves before these kind of calls, doing a little bit of a visualizing exercise can really help with that. So think, 3 steps ahead, sort of walk your way through in your mind's eye, okay, I'm getting on this call and it is the best call ever. I am so comfortable. The people are so nice to me. They are so interested in me. They are so open to me. It's a very easy conversation. They are impressed with me. They are, flabbergasted at my professionalism. They didn't even know that the way that I walked them through my questions that I have for them was what they were looking for, that's what they will now always expect from these kind of calls. And they're absolutely going to hire me. The rate negotiations, which will come later within this process, are going to be smooth sailing. They have so much appreciation for me. They value my input as a creative. They understand how to perfectly utilize me as a creative, and when to ask for my opinion. They have created a very clear vision for what they want. They are great communicators, so it's easy for me to understand what it is that they are looking for. I execute this job perfectly. The client is so thrilled. The result is better than what they even knew that it could be. And they loved working with me. Every time we get to have a conversation about this project, it is a fun day for everybody. We look forward to our meetings together. And at the same time, they are also looking forward to meeting me. They are excited for this creative call because it's a little bit of a switch up from their, day-to-day office work that they are doing. Maybe they don't get to talk to artists every single day, but they wish that they could. So this is actually really fun for them as well. I have a lot of fun on this call because I'm fascinated at what it is that they do. I get to see a little glimpse behind the scenes of how their brand is operating. I get to learn about the different job positions that these people hold and sort of what kind of characteristics each individual person that I'm talking to has within their job position. Or I get to hear a really personal story from my private client about how they view themselves, why they want to do this photo shoot, how they want me to make them feel. They trust me. They feel, they feel safe in my hands. They feel taken care of. They feel like I am taking the pressure out of their expectations, out of this process with the way that I show up confidently, in a way that they can tell that I know exactly what is to do here, and I can take it from here and I can help them along the way. We're working together in this process of finally getting to the production. All of this prep work, all of these calls that you're about to be on if you land a big job, for example, with a brand, is supposed to be a fun process, and you are not on trial here. And one more thing, you guys, if you go into these conversations being like, I need this job so badly. If I don't get this job, it's, I'm going to be so upset with myself. I'm going to be so disappointed. Like, I can't even believe that they're talking to me in the first place. Don't do that. Of course they want to talk to you. And by the way, even if a job doesn't go through, and trust me, guys, I've had really big jobs that were at my fingertips, and I had the call and they ended up going with another photographer. And don't get me wrong, I was also really sad and disappointed, and there, when I got the message that I didn't get it, it took me a moment to be like, damn, I really wanted it. And you can kind of feel the money too. But the thing to always tell yourself is that the fact that you get to have this conversation is a huge win. And a success is a success, no matter how big or small, because you know that there is more where that came from. Take this as the biggest encouragement for you ever, the fact that you were having this conversation in the first place. The result should not affect the way that you show up or the way that this opportunity makes you feel. Because if you're basing your confidence and your feeling of success off of the result of the end goal of your dreams, that's going to be a rough ride for you. So if you can find a way to be like, I am so pumped, I'm getting to have this creative call. This is going to be a new part of my business and of my job that I am learning to love. I am getting to learn to love this. And yes, everything takes practice, and it's okay to be uncomfortable or nervous at times, because maybe this is new to you, and nerves are not a bad thing. They show that you care about this and that, this is aligned with your passion, something that you are passionate about. But don't use that to your disadvantage. Use those nerves and turn them into excitement. If you can master doing that in different elements of your business, you're going to be showing up on such a different energetic level for people as well, where clients are gonna have a lasting impression of you, and it's gonna be a positive one. So that is all we have time for today, but I hope that spoke to you. Let me know, you guys, if you are watching this, what your biggest takeaway was. I always love a little bit of feedback on this. Does this maybe make you a little bit less intimidated to schedule that call with the client, or maybe reach out to some brands that you would love to get the opportunity to have this creative call with? And as always, we do these classes every single Friday, typically always at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, did I change the time on this? Yes, we're doing them at 10:30 a.m. now every Friday. My bad. And the classes are always announced on Mondays at the latest, the beginning of the week, on my Instagram. It's always for free. If you sign up and you can't make it live, you'll get the recording. And if you're looking to go a little bit deeper, I do one-on-one coaching as well. I'm also doing group coaching programs. I'm currently doing a summer program that some photographers are partaking in. So if you're looking for anything more within your own career and business, hit me up, Instagram, email. On my website, there's more information there. And I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye, guys.